that is it for good OCs.
Bad OCs, guys.
That's it for bad OCs. We're going into bad OCs because bad OCs are over, so we're batting the bad over bad spook. We're going to look at, go back in the same order. Soren, tell us about your bad OC this week.
I no longer answer to that name.
Pumpkin pie.
I'm sorry.
Pumpkin pie, can you please tell us about your bad OC?
Thank you.
Please, or else I'll fucking stab you with a hatchet.
Stab me with a hatchet? I thought a hatchet was a slashing weapon. Anyway.
Exactly. I will stab you with a hatchet just because
Just to spite you.
Just to spite you. You'll be like, no, you're doing it wrong.
There's so much spite in this episode. Alright, this is Nocturne, the bat pony. She is...
It says bad OC, not bad OC.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm surprised we never used that joke before.
So she's a teen, apparently. This is... The person says in the description, I guess you could call this my pony Sona, and let me preface this by saying that is the problem with this OC. Okay, the interests are engineering, special effects, video games, writing, drawing, and animation. The talent is designing roller coasters and making animated features, usually Halloween, villain cave, or night themed. And the dream is to become a professional theme and help build theme parks. So I'm assuming that's the part of the pony Sona that comes in, is engineering, special effects, design. But they also tried to just turn it into a Halloween character by making it centered around creating things that are Halloween or night themed. But they made the cutie mark a pumpkin, and I'm like, pumpkin just screams like Halloween. It doesn't scream engineering. So I would honestly say if you're going to have a Halloween themed OC, or who's to say that this is even supposed to be Halloween themed, but the pumpkin makes me think that. So it's like, if you're going to have this Halloween like OC, maybe don't make it your pony Sona. If your dream is to become an engineer, maybe make two separate ones, because this one's just kind of all over the place, and it's like, I'm not really getting into it too terribly much.
What if her special talent is engineering nightmares?
Then why is it a pumpkin with stars for eyes?
And a smiling face.
Pumpkins
are scary. A little known fact about Mummified, he's afraid of jack-o'-lanterns.
Bullshit.
I want to know what the name of that theory is.
The fear of jack-o'-lanterns.
Gordophobia? I don't know. That's actually probably a real thing.
Gordophobia.
Gordophobia would be like being scared of like pumpkins and squashes.
I don't know. They're pretty scary. The eye color is blue, green, grayish. I don't know what the fuck that means, but
it's a steely teal.
It's really like, it's kind of hard. Like the pupil seems a little big, and then it takes up most of the eye, and then the eye color comes in the back, so it almost looks like a weird like serpentine eyelid thing on the side. So then they left no room for the white of the eye, and it looks a little odd, but then again, that could just be personal design, so whatever. The colors are very, like, brown on brown, which isn't bad. For a bat pony, it's a very basic color, because it usually denotes bat, like brown. But, I mean, it definitely seems like one of those OCs that's like the first OC kind of thing. Like, it just needs a little bit more time to evolve into something great.
Yeah. I think it is, the color choice is interesting, because, I mean, honestly, I don't see too many brown bat ponies, which I find kind of funny.
Yeah, that is really funny, because bats are brown.
But, yeah, so I don't really have too much of a color or a problem with any of the colors, but, yeah, it's mostly in the like combination of Halloween pony with pony Sona and sort of mashing this all together, because I think you could make a good pony who is your pony Sona who loves engineering and all these things, and a good like Halloween themed bat pony, and they could both be awesome. And it seems like you have ideas for this, but just the combining them together, it loses a lot of what it seems like you were going for. I lose a lot of the interest when I see it's like it just doesn't really mesh.
Right. And it says she got the cutie mark after she received the mark after helping her school decorate for a fall festival. So you're getting the cutie mark in carving pumpkins and decorating, not engineering, even if it is Halloween themed engineering, quote unquote. So
Yeah,
that doesn't really make sense.
That would definitely be a story for the spook pony rather than the engineering.
Yeah, I was
pony.
gonna say, but that would honestly be a cool way to have it for the Bat Pony. She started with like doing like a pumpkin carving contest or something like that, and then she's like her talent was doing like Halloween design and decoration and stuff like that. That would be cool. I think that's a good idea.
I think the name's pretty original. I like Nocturne. I haven't seen another Nocturne.
It probably could use another name on the end of it. Moving on to the next one, we're gonna go take a look at Spooky Sparkles. Let's see.
You just hear the sadness and regret and just
Spooky Sparkle, tell us what you.
So this is Skull Reaper. They are unknown in age. They're technically they are a uniform. Their occupation is they are a Grim Reaper or Death.
Wait. What type are they?
Unicorn.
You said uniform.
They're not very uniform because things. But if I did,
You
say
said
that,
they were a uniform.
That's not what I meant. But they're a unicorn. So, Skull Reaper was once a normal colt, but then he discovered a scythe, which I'm assuming is the scythe pictured above, or in the picture. And when he discovered it when he was getting lost in the cave that he was exploring, that was far from his home, and received some dark powers and then passed out. When he awoke, his body changed appearance, and he had a skull on his head. He was really confused at first. And then apparently he touched like a flower and it started rotting, and then he had death-like powers. And then he later on knew that he was Death and couldn't go back to his normal life. Plus, they'd all look at him differently, I can imagine. It's pretty scary having a skull for your head, or on your head. And so his job was simply just take out souls of those who are about to die. And he uses the scythe for combat, or for those who don't want to go out to the afterlife, but it rarely happens. Which I find sort of weird because he can apparently touch things and they'll die. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. But for his coat, for his appearance, his coat has spirits floating around it. That's apparently, I'm assuming, what the white is. There's like some like faces maybe in there. And he has a skull for a helmet. His mane and tail, the colors change. Also, his cutie mark changes. Wait. I'm confused by that. I don't know. Apparently, before he was switched over, his name was Aqua Diamond, and his job was a cave explorer looking for new types of rocks. And he had a girlfriend and stuff like that. And they were actually just about to get married, and then he became Death. He likes reading, taking the souls out of the living, meeting new friends, his scythe, and his girlfriend, who's apparently now deceased. He dislikes when somebody tries to take his scythe, losing somebody he loves, even though he is Death, somebody not cooperating with him, and interruption. God, he would hate you, Mollified.
God, I hate this pony.
Just because he doesn't like you, I know.
No!
And also, apparently, any pony who takes his scythe will be Death, and he will lose his powers, but he doesn't give up and wants to get it back.
Okay.
So, what the fuck?
You know how I mentioned the fact that I really like Soren's OC Scythe? Example A.
Yeah, I completely back up that point, because everybody wants to make a fucking scythe that looks like this shit. It's not practical in the least bit.
No, the pistons behind the blade push with a steam force to push the blade forward, obviously.
Esteemed force?
A steam force, yeah.
So, I'm pretty sure he doesn't just dislike people touching his scythe. I think it's the fact that he outright fears it. because then he'll lose his powers. I don't think that's a dislike. Disliking something is like, hey, do you want curly fries or regular fries? Oh, I like curly fries. Oh, well, here's the regular fries. Oh, man, I really dislike it when people don't do that. It's not, they took my power.
It was an interesting idea. It's not, I don't think it's really, like, presented very well, but it's an interesting idea.
I don't even know how you could present that well, to be quite honest. Like, it's a cool idea. Like, it's like a cool story idea, but aesthetically, it's almost impossible to be able to pull that off.
Yeah. I gotta give it to him, though. That idea is really neat. That's what I have to say.
What's up with the things at the end of the tail and the tail and the mane?
They're for stabbing his victims. He obviously had a thing for rarity, and those are his rarity spikes.
It is mummified.
It is mummified.
This pony is mummified.
Oh yeah, see the red mustache? There it is.
But yeah, like I mean, there's just like a lot of things that I'm not sure how I feel about. I don't like the fact that like they were just a normal pony and just discovered this scythe and it made them into death and. Like, so wait, you're telling me that there wasn't a death pony before? No, there's a scythe. Like, did old death just like sort of just die?
Old death was like,
is it?
Oh, no! Oh.
He dropped his scythe and he's
Man,
like, oh, my power!
I really dislike that.
Yeah, I mean,
Tell me about it.
And like we said, that's another problem. Is like, I do think that given the fact that they got their power through like getting the scythe, them losing the scythe, like and losing the power in turn does make sense. But I put a little bit more emphasis. I mean, they do put emphasis on it in the note, but just make it doesn't sound until that point like it's that big of a deal. It's sort of like, hey, give me my theme back before, and then it's like, I will fucking kill you afterwards. Which, that brings me back to my thing that I was saying of how, what was it? Like, he uses the scythe for combat. So what the fuck is the point of, or to get people who don't want to go to the afterlife?
If he's combating it, is he maybe, like, combating something else that is trying to take the souls away from him? Where is he taking the souls? Is he taking them to hell, or is he just taking them to the afterlife? There's so much that could be
There's just a lot of things that are just sort of, like, could be okay, but just, like, it's a bit over the top is how I'd describe it. Like, I would scale back the scythe a bit. If you're gonna have, like, the like, way that it's connected, that's okay. I would absolutely get rid of the end of the scythe part. That just, it's a bit ridiculous in my opinion.
So, moving on to the next OC. It was me, right? Yeah, I'm next. Okay.
Yes.
So, I brought to the party this week Reaper. Now, I'm not going to say that. I know, Soren, you said earlier that you saw somebody in the folder that was just a skeleton pony. Well, I'm not going to dog on this person's style of their OC. It is a little bland, and it definitely is just a skeleton. But I like the fact that it's just
also
a skeleton.
It's also not a dog. It's a pony.
Whatever. I don't. Anyway, so. This is Reaper, and he's actually meant to be sort of the Grim Reaper of the Pony universe. So he's it's one of these characters that has it's not your typical he just kills random ponies just because hey it's about their time. No, it's more of the guiding hand Grim Reaper that it's like okay they passed on and he just kind of guides them along. The artist Turtle Wolf didn't feel like putting in a scythe because he didn't want to convey, Turtle Wolf, they didn't want to convey the idea that he goes around taking lives. It's more of guiding along, helping them understand, calming them as they find their way into the afterlife. Something I found really interesting about this one was the fact that it wasn't just this skeleton by himself doing it alone. He also has like the other Reapers as well, but he also has around a dragon I thought I saw somewhere a dragon
Reaper.
buddy that goes around.
Dragon Reaper, Grimscale.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grimscale. Thank you very much. That concept I love. Dragon Reaper as well that goes with them. And maybe there's going to be something about how this character reaps only pony souls, and then the dragon scale goes around reaping actual dragon. Grimscale, yeah, sorry. Grimscale goes around reaping only dragon souls. So that could be something as well. And I really like that idea. By the way, the minute you make a thing for Grimscale, send it in. We need more Dragon OCs.
It'll probably be just the skeleton of a dragon.
I said earlier that I like the idea that he didn't include a scythe, but then again, whatever. Anyway, but I feel that just because you didn't add a scythe doesn't mean that a scythe is always meant to just take lives. I mean, you call it a reaper, and one of the main tools while using it in more the original farm sense of reaping like greens and shit was using a scythe. So
yeah, sometimes it's a hoe,
but
sometimes it's a weed whacker, sometimes it may be a backpack leaf blower.
So, and that's just something that kind of irked me a little bit. I was like, you could have put a scythe, but then again, it still has a very minimalistic look to it. Also, I do like the fact that the pony skull on this one is very similar or goes along the same lines as an actual horse skull. How it does have that gap in between like the front couple of teeth and the back teeth.
Yeah.
And the fact that, yeah, ponies have fucking huge eyes. How does that even...
Well, you see, scientists have discovered that
is-
actually in the future of humans, we will get larger eyes and less hair.
And we will grow horns and wings.
I find it to be a very nice, simplistic look to it. It's not over the top. It's not whatever. But it's just some things I'm just like, you could have put a scythe, but you didn't. And I like that, but I don't like it. And it's just a lot of little things. It's lacking a lot in design, but also that lacking helps it grow. So it's kind of a meh part 2 for me.
It sounds like last week.
What do you guys think?
I like it. One thing that I just a very minor thing is, like, we have the Dragon Reaper who's named Grimscale, and then the Pony Reaper who's he's Grim. It just says the Pony Grim Reaper, and
his name is Reaper because they refer to him as Reaper in the description here.
Yeah. So are they like the leader of the Reapers, or is this like some like pony master species kind of thing? I think that's racist. Also, apparently his fellow Reapers call him as among his fellow Reapers, he is known as Lockjaw.
His nickname is Tetanus.
And then that also implies, like, oh, Lockjaw, ha ha ha, he's got a skeleton. So maybe there are other Reapers who aren't skeletons.
It's possible. It's possible.
Also possible.
I think it would be kind of cool to like have this sort of like showing the whole body, and then having another one that has like a cloak or something with a little bit of like a shadowy foreboding kind of thing. Because even though, like, I imagine it's sort of like death, where it's sort of very foreboding, but there's no like even the idea of I'm going to kill you. It's just sort of like showing what things are gonna be like and stuff like that.
You're a dick.
That kind of creepy.
This is what happens when you're a dick.
Yeah, I think that having like a picture that's sort of that kind of draping cloak would be also really cool. Not a necessity, but I think it would add to like that feeling, at least for me personally. Also, did we talk about his spirit salamander?
Not yet.
No, I didn't talk about that.
So apparently he has a spirit salamander who alerts him to ponies who are in need of his assistance. He named him Scrappy.
That's adorable.
That
was delayed.
I think it is pretty adorable. Like, what does in need of his assistance mean? Like, just like they're a wandering soul? Like,
No, it says it said something about him alerting him, like, in need of assistance. That would seem like they need to be assisted to the afterlife. Like, they need to be guided.
Yeah,
there.
maybe like when they die, they're just sort of in the like where they were when they died, and they get are freaked
In
out
purgatory.
and stuff. Yeah. In this sort of purgatory, and he has to guide them to the next life or however pony death works.
Yeah. Honestly, I would also like to see the cloak. I mean, I see that you're probably trying to get away from the cliche of Grim Reaper here with cloak and scythe, but by just making it a skeleton, the skeleton is sort of a background character. It's usually like when you see skeleton, you see them in groups or hordes, and it's just kind of like a background thing. But if it had the cloak, since he's trying to be a guiding Reaper, he would have more of the classic Reaper look to him, and therefore the souls wouldn't be frightened because they would see, oh, this is the Grim Reaper, come to help guide me to the afterlife, rather than, oh, this is a fucking skeleton, what the hell. So,
although there are many times that death and the idea of character guiding souls into the afterlife in past history has been just described as a skeleton leading them on.
Well, there you go then.
It can go either way. I mean, there's a lot of depictions in both parties for how to depict death.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's male, female, cloaked, uncloaked, skeleton.
It is one thing I do really like about this is how well it's drawn. Like, their depiction of what bones look like, especially very like old and weathered bones. It's very, very cool.
Moving on to the final one, we're gonna take a look at Mummy Bobo.
Alrighty, this is Moonlit Melody, and straight off the bat, I don't like this character at all.
Nope.
Because it's another example of someone just rehashing an old idea, or just rehashing a character as a pony, and then giving it trying to give it a new fresh coat of paint. This is just a slender pony. But yeah, this character, there isn't really much backstory besides the fact that she's the daughter of Slender Pony.
Someone asked me the other day about how I felt about adaptation ponies, or like cross fandom, crossover, or whatever, cross universe things. And I remember telling them that it's one of those things that obviously if you use something or if you take something and adapt it well into the original source material and took it into heart and how to make a pony, that'd be really interesting and well done. And then I remember saying this to some blog person, and it's like, no, or it's some spurtastic thing that nobody cares about, and it just makes the original work seem that much less. I feel that this is another case of that. Whenever you think of like classic Slenderman in any situation, you think of the sort of you'll shit bricks when you see it kind of thing, or the original creepypastas, where in none of those things did you ever see Slenderman up close, taking up the full area of the picture and being presented right up front. It isn't until like it got adapted by most of mainstream
as soon as Slender
internet
came out.
Yeah, as soon as like Slender came out, or no, actually I would go so far as to say like a month or just about half a year before it came out, because then you still had people dressing up as it. Everybody was fucking being Slenderman and making pictures of him where it's the main focus of the thing. No, it was always supposed to be behind a tree, far off in the distance,
or unnoticeable.
You could barely tell. Yeah, because that was the concept of Slenderman. It was supposed to be you're not sure what you saw. This is a pony standing there playing a violin with long hair that could be potentially used as like grabby sort of
in
appendages.
A dress.
Grabby.
In a dress, yeah.
With no face.
So obvious. Now, it's not to be gender norms or whatever, but I do like the fact that in order to show femininity.
Well, you shouldn't.
And
though.
Sort of. I shouldn't.
No. I know. I understand what you're saying. You're like, oh, you can tell it's a female because she's wearing a dress, even though she has no other redeeming features except for, you could argue, the nose, but whatever.
Fuck you, Medi. Fuck you for saying exactly what I was going to say. I hate you, and you're also the best friend
No,
ever.
but what I'm saying is that shouldn't be a thing.
I hate you and love you.
The whole point of Slenderman isn't the fact that, oh, he's a dude, he's a tall guy in a suit. That's the point. No, it's the fact that he's a mysterious creature, and like the fact that you have to distinguish different outfits for these. You know, no one even knows if that's if it's an outfit. That's the whole point. He's supposed to be mysterious, and the fact that you have it dressing up in a different outfit, and all this shit just proves that it is just an outfit. It's just a big tall guy in a suit with no face.
Though it may not be very personal to the original artist, it's still...
Yeah, we don't dislike you as a person. I dislike this idea that's happening to things I like.
Yeah. It's a sad thing that does happen to most popular spooky or out of just corner of pop culture items.
Was there any, like, description as to why violin? Was there any, like, deep story to that?
No.
Or why Pegasus, maybe?
Nope.
I do like that idea, though, that she plays the violin.
The mother is a Pegasus.
What do you guys have to say about this character? Me and Mummified have spoken our piece.
Oh my god, we've spoken more than just our piece.
Oh, yeah.
Not deep enough. Take it away. If you just change the story to where it's not a slender pony, quote unquote, you don't have to change anything about the piece itself. It looks fine, but change it to where it's not slender pony or whatever. Make it like maybe the violin controls her hair or something. It's like normally like a murderous hair, but it looks like a snake charmer kind of thing. So she keeps it under control or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would be...
Oh, what if she was a charmer of children? No. But follow me here. Okay, the original concept of Slenderman, kills children, sets fires, what the fuck, whatever. Okay, now separate yourself from that entire thing. Create this character that is sort of an homage, but very loosely. Get rid of the whole hollowed out eyes, give her actual eyes, give her sort of a Octavia-esque demeanor, give her the wings, long strands of hair that kind of curl in and draw people in, and a violin that is sort of the Piper for the Snakes of Ireland sort of thing, but with children. And though children. Bringing the children into the woods kind of thing is kind of cliche, but then again, it's a fucking Halloween piece. So do that shit. That would be so cool. I would love that 1,000,000 times more than if it was just the Slender Pony.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was supposed to be done.
Go to your corner.
I feel like no matter what direction you take with this, I would recommend having some story to explain things, because especially with it, it being in this case an obvious Slenderman pony, or even if it just was looking like that, you're gonna want to explain why it is the way it is, because people will look at it like Moabite and Medi specifically, and this is like that's how they see it.
This is an example, like a flip side of the coin to the witch piece. This is an example where you don't want to leave too much to interpretation, because then stuff like Medi and Mummified happen. But I do really like the piece itself. Is very well done. The wings are very angelic. It's sort of a minimalistic piece, as you see looking at the trees and the background, and then the violin. It almost looks like, I don't know, one of those jazz pieces like you see like drawn of a jazz band where they have no eyes and their instruments are very crude. The piece, nothing is wrong with the piece. It's very good.
That was all the bad OCs. We're going to move into voting at this time. So, presenting this week, I brought in Vizier by Akrodin. Commander brought in Mary Hatchet. Medi brought in The Witch. And Soren brought in Nightfall. So going back in the same order we presented in, and not being able to vote for the same OC you brought to the party, Soren, or Pumpkin Pie, who did you vote for? Who will you vote for
Who
this
did
week?
you vote for? I don't remember anymore.
Man.
Who do you vote for?
The Witch was really interesting. It was a really cool piece, but I gotta give it to Vissier because of that great portrayal of death with sort of this rotting flesh and that really dull, like, ghostly flame, and the backstory, and I like his cutie mark. It is very good. Very well done.
I liked pretty much all the OCs this week, but I think I'm gonna have to give mine to Nightfall. I thought it was really cool, and I loved the like accessories and stuff.
I'm probably going to have to give it to Nightfall as well. I do like the story for Mary Hatchet, and I like the art style, but not the coloring of the Witch. The Witch had so much left that could be like more properly shown a little bit more. If you want to know like more, just come on by and ask me. I'll be happy to like go one-on-one in what I really mean without having to have these people interrupt me all the time. But yeah, Nightfall is my pick this week.
Well, you see, when it comes to picking good OCs this week, I come to a predicament. You see, Mummified, I liked yours, but it just didn't really light a fire underneath me, so I didn't care for it. And Commander, I'm sorry, your OC really didn't make the cut. I gotta give it to Nightfall.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck you both. Fuck you, Medi.
Thanks, Medi.
You're so dumb. Moving on to bad OCs, I brought in Reaper by Turtle Wolf. Commander brought in Skull Reaper by Fanart Fictionator. And Medi brought in Moonlit Melody by Crystal Aura. Then Soren brought in Nocturne by Shimmering Moonlight X. Soren, who do you vote for this week?
Well, seeing as how the piece was really well done for Moonlit and how it does hold a lot of potential, as to where the Skull Reaper piece seems a little bit more complete as to, like, they're like, oh, I'm kind of at where I want to be with this OC, and I'm like, well, there's a lot that could be changed with it. So I'm going to have to give it to Skull Reaper.
I honestly didn't have too many problems with Reaper, so no, not going to get my vote. Not a huge fan of Moonlit, and I think that Nocturne has this really good potential, but just falls flat. But I think I'm going to have to give it to Moonlit, just because, I mean, it's just, without having any kind, there's no description of character, no description of any story or anything. It's just sort of just as it is. It's just
I'm probably going to have to give it to Moonlit as well, just from my own personal bias and hatred towards the whole Slender craze, as well as was the fact that there is no story. Like, I can't find anything anywhere on this. But I think that if you just tweaked it around a little bit, like we said earlier, I think it could become an amazing character that still holds the same idea and concept, or at least what is portrayed here, but just in a different moonlight.
Anyways, again, we come to this conclusion where it's, I'm sorry, Mummified, but your OC, Reaper, it didn't kill me like I thought it would, so it's not that bad, and also, Soren, your OC Nocturne put me right to sleep, but the real bad one here had to be Skull Reaper. I didn't like it at all.
So, 1v1?
1v1 me, mate.
1v1?
This happens a lot.
Alright, so as we do whenever there's a tie here on EuroC Sucks, we do a game of rock, paper, scissors with no cameras. It's all integrity of the individual, so they're not going to lie. So they're going to hit 3 on shoot. So, get ready to go, guys.
Alright. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. What'd you get? What'd you get?
I bet rock.
You got rock? Fuck. Yeah. I got scissors.
Ha!
Commander
Don't
wins
you be
Battle
garden
this week.
shears?
I got head trimmers.
I got scythe.
Well, should it? Yeah, it should be like bandages, bludgeon, and scythe. That's what it
I
should
got
be.
leaf blower. Damn.
Drat.
I got a vacuum.
Anyway, Medi, do you have any super spooky questions for us this week?
Maybe not spooky. We did get a question from Turtle Wolf, though. Who is your favorite main 6 pony?
Main 6 pony? Oh, clearly Rarity.
Wow, I like Rarity. It is obvious that Twilight Sparkle is the best main 6 pony. I mean, come on. Like, seriously.
And while you all have the shittiest of tastes, I have to hand it to the best pony of the group, the actual leader, the strongest-willed pony of them all, Applejack.
Twilight.
Applejack.
Okay, so I heard shit taste, utter genius, but still sadly second best, and then I have to give it to Pinkie Pie.
I think Smooth is Pinky as well.
Yeah, it is. Smooth and I get along really well because we agree on a lot of things.
It's sent in to us by both Transdisposition and Kitty Cat is the question. What theme song, both author and song, would you have to match your OC?
Oh, God. Oh, shit.
That's a hard question.
Okay, well, I mean, Sharp Dressed Man is an easy one, but...
Oh, that's a really good one, actually.
Fuck. I think that might have to be it. I'm trying to think of something that might be better. I can't remember who did it. Oh, yeah, ZZ Top! Fuck yeah, dude! ZZ Top's Sharp Dressed Man.
But their facial hair is infinitely more epic than yours will ever be.
Well, to be fair, it is ZZ Top, and they are the epitome.
Yeah. Not this little prissy, like, waxed shit.
You
Right.
kill yourself.
Moving on.
It's really hard for me to choose things, so I feel like my character would like something spacey, so I'm going to go with Astronomy Domine by Pink Floyd. If anyone knows that era of Pink Floyd, you'll understand.
Touchpad obviously has a Freebird. No, I'm kidding.
That's beautiful.
It would either be King of Kings by Motorhead or Pretty Fly for
That's
a
awesome.
White Guy from...
That's also awesome.
Okay.
Just because, and Allie will like this, we'll stick with War Pigs by Black Sabbath, because why not? Or literally any Black Sabbath, like fucking Hole in the Sky, fucking Symptom of the Universe,
Beautiful.
like, just any of the first 5 Black Sabbath albums. If you don't know them, go look them up, because they're really fucking good.
This was a question submitted to us by Dalek Forever. Alright, Dalek Fever. The question is, how do we all become bronies?
So, I'll start this off, as we always do. I first became a brony sort of in line with, or kind of due to the influence of a buddy of mine. It was after hanging out with a couple of my friends, we ragged on this one buddy of mine who was a brony at the time, and we're like, that's fucking weird. We ragged on him a little bit, but when he was dropping me off after we all grabbed lunch, he was playing Luna by the
Eurobeats.
I'm sorry.
Eurobeats sucks.
The Eurobeat Brony song Luna, but it was the Alex S remix, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute, Luna, is this one of your pony things? And he's like, yeah. So we listened to it, and I kind of poked fun at him, but I never really cared. But after a while, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. So I watched the first five episodes. Didn't really like it. I didn't hate it, but it just was like, okay. So it's a show. It's not terrible. So then I let it go, and then a couple months later, I had to do some tweaking on my computer, like actually taking parts out and putting new parts in kind of thing. And I was sitting there like, okay, I always like listening or hearing something while I'm working. I hardly ever actually like just dead silence, except for maybe at work. So I'm just sitting there like, okay, what can I watch, quote unquote, / listen to while I'm fixing my computer, and something that I know I'm going to have enough of. afterwards as well, like something that's readily available. And I'm like, well, I know that all of My Little Pony, the new show is on YouTube, so why don't I do that? Now, what episode was I on? I don't know, 2, 3, something like that. I don't know. Let's just start here. So I started at episode 3 again, and just started watching it all while I was working on my computer, and I had to like reboot it up, fix it, reinstall Windows, do a whole bunch of other stuff, and I was doing this all on my phone, watching all of the show on my phone as I'm like doing stuff on my computer. And after a while, it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I am all the way through season 1. Okay, new season. Okay, there's a second season. Wait a minute. I know that voice. Discord is voiced by John Delancey? Hey, that's pretty fucking cool. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty fucking cool. So then I was like, all right, well, I guess this show's okay. And then eventually it got to the point where I watched all of Return to Harmony, and then finally Lesson 0. And I'm like, okay, where's the next episode? And it's like, oh, I'm caught up. Well, I really want to watch the next episode. And then I'm like, fuck, I really want to watch the next episode. Shit. And then I found out that the next episode was a Halloween episode with Luna returning, and I was like, that sounds pretty fucking cool. I want to see that. So I'm like, yep, I'm not going to tell my friends. That's the story on how I got my cutie mark. Next time I'll tell you how Equestria was made. It was a gem.
August or so before my sophomore year, which was like August 2011. I remember I was playing video games with like 3 or 4 of my friends, but one of them, he's a beatard, or at least was at the time, and he decided, oh, I'm gonna troll all my friends by playing this fucking pony shit, and like he would just like sing Giggle at the Ghosties and spam it everywhere and everything like that. And we were like, at first I had no idea what it was. He was just singing it all the time for like a week straight, and he'd like link it to us, and they're like, oh, My Little Pony, what the fuck? They wouldn't even actually listen to the real song. Eventually, after hearing it so many times, like, it got really, 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 really catchy. And then a bunch of us would start singing along. And then one time I was at a friend's house, and we were both, like, it got stuck in our heads, so we went and listened to the song, and I was just like, so, do you know anything else about this old pony thing? He's like, well, so-and-so mentioned something about a sonic rainboom or something. Like, so he just Googled that into YouTube, and since actually the episodes were all on YouTube at the time, oh, lo and behold, Sonic Rainboom's an episode. So we watched that whole episode. I'd say at about, like, 5 minutes in, I was like, this is pretty fucking dope. And I've pretty much been a fan since.
Thank you for sharing, Commander. Let's move on to me.
Oh, hail the king. Hail
yes,
the king.
hail the
Praise
king.
him.
Well, you see, one... one day while I was flexing with my friends, we were all out lifting weights, like always, because, you know, it's just me. We were all hanging out
So
together,
cool.
just lifting cars and lifting weights. It was an amazing time. And one of them mentioned something about a pony, and I was like, ponies? Good sir, I will know that I don't ride no pony. I am no longer a child. I stopped riding a pony when I was 3. I started with horses at 4. And he was like, oh, hoit. But you remind me, good sir, of a great horse. What is that horse? The Big Mac. He is the strongest of the male horses. And I'm like, that does remind me, good sir. So we went and I watched the first episode. And I was like, this show is quite good, quite good. Yes. And I brought it up to my friend. I was like, but when did this Big Mac appear? He's like, it appears around episode 3, I believe. Oh, yes, that's banger and mash good. So I watched through episode 1 and 2, and I got to episode 3, and I reached Big Mac, and I was like, oh, this is when the show's gonna get good.
Technically, he's in episode 1.
Well, you see, I didn't see him in 3, and I brought up to my friend, that doesn't seem quite right, and he's like, no, it's episode 4.
God damn
I
it.
watched it.
That's how you
And then
retcon
I
a
was
story.
like, yes, episode 4, and I watched it, and he was right there. Glorious, but he was injured, and I was very angry. I was like, how dare you call me a horse again? You know I haven't been sick since I was 4 when I switched to horses. And he was like, that is very true, you have never been sick, and you haven't even broken a bone. It's quite weird, actually. How do you do that? And I was like, well, you see, it's all these weights I lift.
Jesus
And that's
Christ.
Fuck.
That's how I became a brony.
Thank you. Moving on. Soren.
I'm not a brony. I hate this fandom.
What
Okay, well, moving on. Next question.
Commander and I were hanging out over at my house, and he was like, oh, you like cute things because we were browsing kittens, and so maybe you would like this pony show. And I'm like, huh. At this point, I was a little bit more, this was my senior year, I was a little bit more, like, open-minded, like,
Yeah,
I was like...
Not like when you got interviewed for the anti-Brody thing, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's a darker day, so we don't want to talk about that. But, it was like... because I was like, well, he's already got his external hard drive hooked up to my computer giving me Adventure Time, so why not? Give me that too. So I started watching it, and the first couple episodes, I was just kind of, what is this? I kept watching, and Pinkie Pie is obviously best because humor always gets me into things.
Thank you for sharing, everyone.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you for all those questions, Mehdi. Thank you, viewers, for submitting them. Mehdi, why don't you tell them where they can submit questions just like that, or OCs?
Okay, you can submit questions like that. OCs and Finn are over at these specific links. And nowhere else. EuroCsucks.deviantart.com, at EuroCsucks@twitter.com, EuroCsucksPodcast@gmail.com, and EuroCsucksPodcast.tumblr.com.
That was our Halloween episode. Thank you, everybody, for submitting in your OCs. Then that means we're going to continue on from this one. That means next week, the 7th, is going to be back into our regular block. That means we're going to have other OCs next week for the 7th. That means any kind of OCs that we weren't able to specifically talk about on the show, like any other species that we weren't able to highlight. And it's just some other random species, OCs. Now, we're going to do that. And then the following week, we're probably going to do a fan-submitted one. And if you have any other remaining other species that we haven't covered these last couple of weeks, feel free to send them in. We'd love to get more of them in and maybe pull out one last episode, a special themed episode, but I can't say for certain. Other than that, I want to remind everybody to have a nice, safe, happy Halloween. Once again, I've been zombified, or actually mummified Thunderbirds. I've been joined by
Commander Sparkle.
Who?
What? That's not a name
Fuck
that
off,
I
Sparkle.
recognize.
Mummy Boo Boo.
Dipshit Pie.
And remember, though your costume probably sucks, your candy taste is terrible, but on top of everything else, remember, your OC sucks.